Hey, we have the fingers back pointing at us to tell us to do things.
Oh, I feel so much more professional.
I
My nickname, the Fingers.
I do. You know what? Girls would love that nickname, the fingers.
Nice.
Hey, welcome to Real Nerds. I'm Ryan. Next to me is
James.
and
Brad.
Brad's back.
Brad is back.
Hey
Wow.
guys, how's it going?
Wow.
I hate you.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here.
I guess we can't tell Brad to fuck off anymore because he's actually here.
That's right, I'm
No.
here. You can't
Which
say
actually
shit.
doesn't make sense. If we told him to fuck off when he wasn't... Well, anyway.
You know what? Fuck you, Brad, for not being here for 6 weeks. There, I said
Yeah.
it. I said it
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to his face
Oh, yeah?
and on the podcast.
How about I just press this button and this show ends right now?
Hey, you fuck! Ah, you guys thought we went away, but we're always here.
That was good. That was
Yeah,
really good.
it
Oh,
was.
man.
So welcome back. We saw Creature this week. But before we can
Come on,
dissect
Ryan, sell it.
the greatest movie of all time,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
we have to do some real news. Sweet. Welcome back to Real Nerds, the full-on tri-force of nerds.
do you guys want to like all put your fists together like we're Captain Planet or something?
That Captain Planet with
Earth. Oh,
Don
Cheadle.
Cheadle was
Fire.
really
Wow.
funny. Did you
Yeah,
see
that
the
was
Don-
really good.
I didn't.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I've been out of the loop, so.
You know, I'll start because I actually saw something really funny online, and it was a lost scene from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh yeah.
And in it, instead of being whipped by the bad guys, Indy was whipped by Babs.
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand, for those who don't know.
Dressed up as a dominatrix.
Yes, and then Carrie Fisher came in and kissed him, and then Erwin Kershner said that they need to do a better job, the director of Empire Strikes Back. But my favorite part in that was when she was whipping him and said, "This is for all the money you're going to make on Return of the Jedi." And that was pretty funny. So everybody should check out that scene. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was good.
That's-
That's one that's been rumor of that video has been floating around for a long time.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And
And then someone stole
some
it
guy
from
finally
Spielberg, I
found
guess.
it. Yeah, yeah, Joe Blow, which is perfectly anonymous. Yeah, that was pretty good.
So that was fun. And then I read a little tidbit that this is more for me and Brad too. That they're thinking about making the next Friday the 13th movie a found footage movie.
Really,
Maybe different, I guess.
It'd be different, but
Friday the 13th is the knifey claw hand one.
no, that's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay.
Hockey
Friday the
Mask.
13th is Hockey Mask.
Come on, you're not that
Jason,
old.
Jason
Yeah.
or Michael?
Or young.
Jason.
Jason.
Okay.
I don't know if that could work though, but you know, whatever. I'll still see it.
Yeah. How would you get?
It's like part 12 at this point, 11?
13.
13?
If it's 13, they should just make us Friday. They should just call it 13.
Friday
That'd be
the
sweet.
13.
They should just call it 13.
Well, they do what everybody else does. You get rid of the and just say Friday 13.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like Fast 5.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that guy directs great episodes of Community.
He does. He does. He directs great Fast Fives.
He does.
Um,
Anyways, what do you got for me, James? That's my quick little things.
yeah. Well, we're talking about Star Wars. We didn't talk about this when it first popped up because it just makes me mad to talk about. But then it got so much worse that we have to talk about it. Have you guys seen the Star Wars edits that are on the Blu-ray?
I have, yes.
I haven't seen him. I didn't even read the article. I kind of just breezed through it, so you're going to have to enlighten me because I know something about it. No, that's the thing I'm
Yeah,
not
that's the
reading.
worst one.
What is it?
So
I
the
don't
other
know.
ones, the other stuff is normal, stupid Lucas stuff. Like he makes the Ewoks wink or blink. I mean, so like when Wicked is moving around with Carrie Fisher and stuff, there's one little shot where he blinks, which is just CG'd in.
Why is that important to add? I just don't. Get
It's not important to add, but George Lucas has nothing else to do with his time.
it. I guess so.
But none of them affect the story, and that's what's important. But then he decided, in order to link the original trilogy with the new trilogy, he was going to add a little tie-in. So now, when Darth Vader picks up the Emperor and throws him into the the big thing, right? Well, right before he does it, he goes, "No! No!" And he grabs the Emperor and throws him into the thing, and while he's grabbing him, he goes, "No!" Just like at the end of Episode 3.
Why do they need to tie that together?
They don't. And also, when you watch that little clip, it makes the Emperor look like a complete numbskull. Because Darth Vader is yelling, "No!" And he just sort of stands there and doesn't shoot Darth Vader with lightning. It's stupid.
It ruins a moment that somehow in the original, a guy who's wearing a mask, you can see no emotion on his face, but as you're watching the scene play
Yeah.
out, he's not saying anything, but you can totally understand the expression behind the mask as he's looking back and forth between the Emperor and his son, and you know what kind of decision he's trying to make. Now putting the no in just telegraphs the whole
Yes.
emotion for you.
So
I just
this
high-fived
this isn't
Brad.
some guy like playing a joke online where he's like, I'm going to add this in and people are going to get all pissed off and it's really not going to be in there. Is this like 100% confirmed by...
It is it's possible that it is a giant hoax. I don't think it is. I think this is real.
Really?
Because it seems very real. I mean, especially like watching the the blinking Ewoks, that I see that and I go, yeah, that looks like they really added that in. And certain things that ILM have said have made it sound like they're not editing anything, but at the same time, well, it seems like it really is. Now, when the Blu-rays come out, they may say like, okay, everyone hates this, we're going to take it out. But I don't think so.
Well, I'll let you guys know because I will be getting the Blu-rays. But
I won't.
So I this is my question to all people who like these movies. Why does George Lucas feel that he needs to do this to movies? I don't ever remember reading something where he feels that he needs to enhance his movies.
Well, the truth is, it's one of the biggest turnarounds from the beginning of his career that I think any director has ever done. Because,
I agree.
George Lucas started off as being a completely out of the system, independent filmmaker. He was trying to make movies out of the studios entirely. In fact, Steven Spielberg was supposed to direct, if not the first Star Wars movies, I believe the sequels, but he wasn't allowed to because he was in the guild. He was in the Directors Guild, and George Lucas didn't work with people who were in the guild, or he was
I do
messing with
remember
things.
reading about that because they don't show any credits of the people who made the movies before
Right.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so that automatically made him not part of the guild.
Right, yeah, he the original Star Wars movie, that's exactly what it was. Like, he got in trouble for taking those opening credits off of the movie, and now that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like, now it's kind of special when there's credits at the beginning. So it's really strange to have him completely turn. That's how I see it.
I just don't get why is he so fascinated with it, and why does someone want that backlash that happens when he does stuff like that? You know what I mean?
I think
he
it's-
doesn't see it as backlash. It's him trying to make the movies better. He feels like, oh, well, I was limited by this or that at the time, and now this technology unlocks everything for me, and I can fix all the little things that weren't perfect the first time.
Okay, that's fine, but I don't understand how him going no enhances the movie.
Well, you'd have to look at it. You'd have to be in the mindset that the prequel trilogies are good, which George Lucas is, and then step back and look at all 6 movies and say, okay, now, if you were to watch all 6 of them in a row as one giant story, if he'd made them in that way, in that order, he might have said no at the end, he wouldn't have said no, I would hope, but he would have written in little things that called back to that prequel.
I mean, that makes sense to me, but to me, this is... I mean, I might be playing devil's advocate, but to me, that's what doesn't make sense about some of these things. I just can't wrap my mind around the no part. You know what I mean? Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
No, it
Doesn't have
doesn't.
much
It's
else
fucking
to
stupid.
do. I mean, Red Tails is the first movie he's directed.
He's not
since-
No,
directing
he didn't.
that.
He didn't direct Red Tails.
He's a producer.
He's just
Yeah.
a producer.
So he's only directed the Star Wars movies. That's all he's really had the
Well,
most
and-
creative control over.
Yeah,
So it's.
I mean, I guess a creative control
It's like-
thing makes sense. You know what I mean?
and he
Star Wars is his baby, so like he can go.
well, and he's not a director. He's really a writer. I mean, he didn't direct American
You laugh at
Graffiti,
the writer part,
right?
that's
Well, but yes, you can laugh at that until you go back and
Joseph
look at
Campbell's
American
more the
Graffiti, American Graffiti, and the original three movies, which are all really well written. I mean, he was a writer, and THX
I don't
as
know if
well. But that is such an indie
I think
sensibility sci-fi.
Empire and Jedi might have been written really poorly, but I think edits by those directors made them better.
Yeah, it's
Editing
possible.
those scripts.
So, I mean, part of it is that when part of it is that when he became a director and got full control, you started seeing this sort of perfectionist side of him come out. He was not happy with some of the improvisations that happened on the original trilogy. Things like "I love you, I know," he wasn't actually, he didn't think that was a cool line. Everybody else thought like that was the coolest line Han Solo should ever say, and we all know that's exactly what he should say. But he was like, "Well, that's not what I wrote. So why are you saying it that way?" And then when he makes the prequels, they're these rigid, horrible pieces of film, and that's why, because he has this vision and sticks to it, and no one around him is allowed to say no. And that's what this feels like now. It feels like him saying like, "Well, I have complete control over these movies, so I can fuck with them however I want, and you can't say anything about it." Well, but I can, and by what I'm going to do is not by I mean, at this point, if I want to watch the original 3 movies, I'm going to go to the basement and get my VHSs out, which sounds like total fanboy bullshit, but I'm not kidding. I can't bring myself to watch the DVDs that I own, because when I get to the end of Return of the Jedi, he fucked it up.
Neither of you got those limited release DVDs that had both the new and
No,
old
I
versions?
I bought Star Wars when it came out because I thought, well, it's got, because some of the things that he did in the 90s when he added CG stuff to the Han Solo shot first controversy, some of the scenes that he added, I was like, okay, cool. You know, he adds a wide shot of Mos Eisley where you get to see like, oh, it's this buzzing city and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a
I was
edition.
I was kind of on board with that. I was like, okay, fine. You know, obviously the Han shot first thing is stupid, and having Jabba in there is stupid, but
No,
what,
there's,
you know,
there's DVD versions
Yeah.
of
Right.
Yeah.
like the not special edition.
right? No, I know there are, but I had already bought the
Special edition.
the special editions, yeah,
Okay.
on DVD when they first, because that was he double dipped that one. He came out with the special editions in a pack that had a fourth disc, and you know,
Yeah. I
they
got that
told
one too.
everybody that was it.
Yeah.
But
So a little bit of Star Wars news. I was reading on Kevin Smith wants to know why they won't make a Boba Fett movie.
because George Lucas won't write it. The best thing that can happen to Star Wars is George Lucas dies. I'm not kidding. I mean, you know, and at a certain point, I don't
You don't want somebody to die, obviously.
Yeah, you know. But
I
the
agree,
truth
there's-
is, like Patton Oswalt has that joke about if he had a time machine, he'd go back 15 years and kill George Lucas. And he's not even just saying that because he wants the prequels not to be made. He's saying that because 15 years ago, George Lucas was a legend. Like, he had defined a generation's childhood, and then when they were grown up, he fucking raped it. 4 times!
I don't think Revenge of the Sith is that bad.
I don't think Phantom Menace is that bad.
Station for nice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Phantom Menace since I was in Australia in 2002.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it. I said, "Oh, it's not as bad as I remember it." You know, when you take away like the hype
Well, and when
the negativity.
And I feel like if you ignore some of the stuff that is really dumb, like Jar Jar, then there's some cool stuff in there. I think the pod race scene is cool. I think Duel of the Fates is really cool. Getting to see a
Lightsaber
good
battle's awesome.
lightsaber battle was great.
But then he killed the coolest villain yet, the second coolest villain he's ever made, Darth Maul.
yeah, he kills Darth Maul.
And then,
he kills
Or
Qui-Gon
Qui-Gon
Jinn.
Jinn.
Yeah.
Or what?
In the Clone Wars, Darth Maul comes back. So
Yeah.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh,
That's because other people are writing it, so.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, okay, I mean,
Didn't you say he comes back kind of like Shredder?
Well, he's cauterized, so like his legs are wasted, but he's still a moving torso.
And you basically.
well, if that
So he
makes
gets
sense,
robot
why couldn't
legs.
they bring back Qui-Gon Jinn? All he had was a hole through his chest.
I don't know, man.
But well, the reason to make I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense just as much as Boba Fett getting out of the Sarlacc makes sense. He was cool and shouldn't have died. And I mean, yeah.
I guess damn it, I wish I remembered the article better with Kevin Smith, because I guess some big Hollywood guy actually has an idea for a Boba Fett movie. And
I bet it
Kevin
would be
Smith
awesome.
says he should fucking let him write it.
It would be awesome. And you know, yeah, when George Lucas dies, after 10 years or so, somebody's going to start saying like, "Hey, why don't we make a little money off of this stuff we own and start letting people write some Star Wars stories?" And won't that be great? I hope I live to see it. You know?
Cool. What else do you got? Star Wars, not Star Wars wise.
I don't have anything Star Wars. Well, we can talk about something futuristic though. Did you guys see the Nike shoes? The Back to the Future Nike
I did.
shoes?
That's my news.
You saw
Yeah.
the article at least? Man, it's not, out of all of the things that somebody could make from a movie. It's not the one that I think is coolest, but I hope that it starts a trend of people making.
Hoverboard, here we come.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously things like that.
Except
Get
you
on
don't
a
want
Mattel.
you don't want the Mattel one.
Well, yeah.
Mattel one.
I just thought that was neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you see how much they've been bidding for?
No.
Like $4,000 to $5,000 a pair.
Wow.
It's going to Parkinson's
For
research, which
shoes.
is nice.
That's
but-
good. Yeah.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I know Michael J. Fox is hawking them. So,
Yeah.
and by hawk 'em, I mean for a good cause.
Yeah.
He's always
Yeah,
been a
yeah,
nice
yeah.
guy. You know, I really wanted to pick up his book, Always Looking Up, and I meant to pick it up when it was at Barnes and Noble for $4,
Oh.
and I forgot to get it, and now I can't find it anywhere.
Have you been to a... oh, sorry, you said Barnes & Noble. Have you been to a Borders lately?
Yeah, actually, I picked up. I'm a big fan of cartoon shorts, and I have all the Disney ones.
Yeah.
And a while ago, they released the Golden Collection on Looney Tunes, and I only got the first one because they're always $65. I went
Yeah.
to Borders last week, and I found one, the second one, just tucked away in a corner
Oh, wow.
for 60% off. So I'm like, yes, that was the one thing that I loved about going there.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I went there last weekend, and man, that place is just picked clean.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's almost. If I were a writer, I would hate to walk into that Borders and find my books on the walls because it's just the dregs, the stuff that nobody else wants. The young adult section is very full. Lots and lots of copies of Twilight are still there, including a couple of copies of the movie. If I might go back this weekend, if they got
Don't buy the movie, James. Fuck.
But what if I could buy them for less than cost?
No.
What if I'd be stealing money from them? They would have produced something that I didn't pay them enough for.
No, because they've already got paid for it because Borders bought them.
Oh, you're right.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Do not support Twilight.
You're right. No, you're right. You're
You
right.
put it on your
It's
shelf
a moment of weakness.
at your house, and then people are come over and start judging you.
Yep.
Do you want that? Do you want that on your conscience?
Me and,
James?
It would be-
me and
it would
Brad
be-
are judging you right now.
Oh my god! Can we just move on? Because I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Speaking of Disney, though, you brought up Disney. Did you see the thing about Disney Studio All Access?
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
I think it's actually a good idea.
Yeah,
I do.
Brad, do you know about this?
Yeah. Are you
Oh.
gonna do it?
Well, I don't know, but the
But
neat-
it comes with the DVDs, though, so...
Yeah, so it's the basic premise here is that they are, for the first time, a major studio is acknowledging when you buy a DVD, for example, or a Blu-ray, you're not buying it for the piece of plastic, you're buying it for the intellectual property that's on it. So when you buy a movie, you own that movie, you don't own a Blu-ray of that movie. So when you buy, The Lion King, you own The Lion King. And when you need to play it somewhere else, you'll have a copy of The Lion King.
Yeah, they actually kind of already do that. If you're... Brad's a member of their movie rewards. Some movies... when we get to what we've watched, I watched Enchanted this week. Some movies that you buy, you can stream for free. Like, you put them on your movie rewards account, and it says, would you like to watch this movie for free right now? And you click on it, and it takes you to Disney's website. You put in your code that you get with the movie, and you get to watch it for free
That is
anywhere
so
you go.
cool. And it's a higher quality than like the digital copies that come that go straight that are like made for your iPod or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the only bummer is you're watching it streaming on a computer, so
Right.
you're going to get that interruption and sometimes the not sound quality.
Right.
But I still think it's not a bad idea for them to do that.
And it's a step forward.
Exactly, and they don't have to worry about stupid, companies are worried about Netflix and stuff. If you control your own library,
Right.
then you don't have to worry about people.
My question is, if you buy The Lion King and then 10 years later they come out with an upgraded version, do you have to pay the difference, or do you get because you've already got the original version, do they give you like a discount for jumping to the next one since you don't have to buy another package of it?
I don't know.
You mean like if they came out with a 2000 whatever 1080 times 2 is?
Yeah, the
If
holographic version. Yeah,
yeah, okay. Where they're making the picture a whole lot better.
you're like, I already got the Blu-ray, but I don't know if I want to shell out another $30 for the hologram version.
Yeah.
Since it's a streaming thing, can
Yeah.
I just upgrade the one I have?
I would actually doubt that Disney would do that because they have such a way of promoting their movies that, for 10 years you're not going to be able to get Snow White, but you know what? In 10 years you're going to get the ultimate version until the next 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it still feels like people acknowledging that the problem with buying movies right now is that you're not giving it to us in a way in the way that we want to use it. You know, it's part of why I torrent a lot of stuff is because it's easier for me to download it illegally than to get it the way
Take
that I
food
want.
out of my mouth, James.
No, I mean there are things that I own but also have torrented because I want to have the DVDs and I want to support the show and have it, but I also want to be able to throw it onto my iPod really easily. Why can't I, especially if it's something like Arrested Development where it's 10 years ago. The people when I buy those DVDs, nobody who made that show is making any money off of that anymore, Anyway. So I think it's good. I think it's good. You know what else I think is good? Chris Tucker's coming back. Chris Tucker is making movies again.
no.
That's Will Smith.
Oh, it is.
That's racist.
What? I'm not preventing him from doing anything. That's just a gross stereotype.
Well, yeah, that's true. It
No,
wouldn't
you
have
know
been so
what's-
bad if he hadn't
Actually,
pucked
it's a
it.
fact.
You know what's
Pucked
more
his-
exciting is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis have really big roles in The Expendables 2.
Dude, that's what they said last time.
Well,
No, last time I knew Schwarzenegger's would be a cameo.
Yeah.
And I guess we're trying to get Jean-Claude Van Damme, and who's the other one? I don't know. It's going to be literally these guys are going to, if they have so
Steven
many
Seagal.
people, yeah, Steven Seagal, it's going to be on, they're going to be on screen for like 5 minutes each.
the insurance on that movie is going to be horrible. Because you got to ensure that those guys just don't fall over dead. I mean, anyway. The last thing is that Stars finally dropped out of Netflix.
Yeah.
Which they've been saying they were going to do for a while.
You know, I talked about that on my last week podcast
Oh, did
with
you?
my wife.
Can I say? I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I was always disappointed when I clicked on a movie that was from Stars and it was in SD and full screen. Ugh. It was I would see a movie on Netflix and go, hey, cool, that movie is on Netflix. And I would click on it and it would start and it would say Stars and it would look like shit and I would turn it off.
What do you stream through? Blu-ray player?
My PlayStation.
Oh, well.
No,
you
no,
guys
n-
with your fancy PlayStation 3s and me with my standard def Wii.
Yeah, you bet on the wrong horse. Anyway, no, it's just that Stars only offers Netflix the SD full screen versions. Or if they're widescreen, they're letterboxed twice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're the full screen widescreen version, so you'd have to zoom in on the picture, which is just it's garbage. I'm glad that they're gone. Hopefully it means that Netflix won't spend money on Stars and will go out and beef up their streaming. Anyway,
I'm disappointed I can't just stream Party Down, and there's no DVD version.
this
of
is
it,
true. This is true. Yeah, losing Party Down, which is why I torrented it 6 months ago. Anyway, that's the end of my news.
Yeah, sweet. Brad, any news for us today?
So. No, he took the Nike
Fuck you,
Mag
Brad.
thing.
Just kidding.
Oh, it's great to be back.
The truth is, we never got to talk about. You did however
The
many
40-hour
hour.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How'd it go?
I heard your podcast where you guys kind of dissed it a little bit.
Whoa!
Okay.
Hey, no.
Hey, now, we didn't diss it.
First of all, I was the
Story's
only
crap,
one.
I believe, is a quote from James.
Whoa! No, I didn't. Did I say that?
Ryan is meh.
Yeah.
Okay,
his quote.
see,
I don't want to
Ryan.
talk about it because my friends might be listening.
Yeah, Ryan was very careful about it.
That's right. I was pretty nice.
All I did was say that I thought that the title was crap.
Yeah, I came up with that title, so thanks.
It's fine.
It was either that or Time Chud or
Time Chud?
yeah,
Chud.
Like carnivorous humanoid underground dwellers?
yeah.
Wait, what? Brad, I'm going to have to talk to you about the titles of your movies.
I thought Chud was just like garbage baby. But now that I know it's an
Garbage,
acronym,
you call it garbage, baby.
that doesn't make sense. That doesn't,
Who cares?
Neither does Time Chud.
Chronobortion was another.
What was it?
Chronobortion.
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 All right.
Yeah,
Well, see, the biggest problem I have with Conception is that
Chron-
it's obviously an Inception play. And then I
No,
was
it
like,
wasn't trying to be. It just.
I
sounded
know,
like it.
but it sounds like it's obviously an
Yeah.
Inception play, which is why it's a
That's what the
problem.
writer said.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, that's why you should listen to your writers.
we didn't have any better ideas until Holly came up with birth control.
Birth control. Yeah, that would have been good.
So
Yeah.
But-
Well, if only you'd spent the 48 hours on the title. No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say anything bad about it. I thought it was pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah. It was too bad you got it in late, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
too
didn't get it edited fast enough. So
Yeah, she was all right. I mean, I'm not
the
gonna.
40-hour
I mean,
film,
you guys did good for 48 hours, but
Yeah.
and you guys didn't see the other teams.
No, I'm sure they were awful.
All 3 or 4 of them were pretty good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but that's out of like 32.
yeah.
You did the credits, right? Like as far as the
No, well, my friend Ryan from work did the credits.
well, the credits were really
sequence.
good.
Yeah,
I
they're pretty
remember
amazing.
them.
Yeah. I shot it, and I got everyone together, and I tried to edit the best I could.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it was still.
Well, I always told Brad, it's hard because when you have that many people, you. I hope I don't get in trouble by me saying this, but when he came in, he's like, I wasn't really on board with the idea that they were making for the movie.
Yeah, when I
So-
showed up there,
so
Andy
it's-
pitched it, and I was just kind of like, what?
Yeah, so it's hard for I can understand. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard because you basically have the right to like, I have to go with it because I don't have time to sit here and say,
Yeah.
fix this, fix
And
that.
it grew on us as we were doing it.
Well, yeah.
We kind of figured it out and understood it better as people did the scenes. And
Yeah, I mean that's going to happen, but I still think it's 48 hours is hard.
Yeah.
So anytime you can put something together,
And I would like to know, I knew ahead of time that the way it worked was that they gave you like certain parameters that you had to work within. What was it that they told you that you had to do in the movie, or that you had to have it be about?
well,
what was the
uh,
line in the movie you had to have?
Well, first we drew horror as our category. Like we had to do
Oh,
a
so
horror movie.
not everybody is doing the same thing.
No, there's
Oh,
like
okay.
20 different categories, and then there's like 5 wild card categories. So like we drew horror, but we decided we didn't have the resources to do a horror this time around. So we opted for the wild card, and we got time travel. And when you do the wild card, they just kind of do. I think there were 6 people who wanted to throw their thing back, so they just cordoned us off into groups of 2, and then two people had time travel, and then there were some other categories.
Interesting.
But then we got a character we had to use, so everyone had to have the same character, Mark Donnelly, and he was a graphic designer incorporated into all these different genres
Oh, okay.
that people
Okay.
got. And then there was a prop, which is a broom, so everyone had to have a broom in their movie at some point. And then the line of dialogue was, "That's not right." And we actually incorporated the broom in our movie several times.
See,
And then
if
the
I
li-
would have had a horror movie, I would have had the killer break the broom off and
impale
jam
somebody.
it in his head, and the sassy black guy and go, "Damn, that ain't right!" And he'd be just kidding.
most teams
That was a 48-hour movie that was 30 seconds long. That's how smart Ryan is.
Thank you.
well, they have to be a minimum of 5 minutes.
Well, that could just be the climax. I'm just saying.
The credits could be really slow.
And then the line of dialogue was, "That's not right." So,
Oh, okay.
and we said that twice
Oh, okay.
in a
Cool.
movie. Most people do everything once, so. We
Yeah,
felt
I was
really-
expecting. Okay, yeah. I just wasn't
And
sure
unnaturally.
how it worked, or how what kind of things they would ask of you, and so.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, just those 4
Cool.
things.
So we haven't seen Brad in a while. Brad, what have you been watching in 6 weeks since you've not been on Real
I
Nerds?
have watched a lot, and yeah, I've been wanting to.
Well, he watched the seasons change.
He did.
I did.
From summer to fall.
Yeah, isn't it weird? Just 2 days ago, like just a complete
Yeah.
temperature drop.
It was less weird for me because I went into the mountains, so it was like, it sort of made sense that I was cold up there. But then I came back down and it didn't get warmer. That's when it got weird.
Well, let's start with actually prior to my sabbatical, I'd been watching all 11 seasons of Cheers, and I finished it while I was
No
gone.
way,
Yeah.
man! That's got the best intro.
Yeah, it does. Classic song, and just like the first season, they don't really try to make those old timey pictures represent the characters.
Yeah,
But as the seasons go on, they kind of realize like, oh yeah, these kind of do look like the characters. So
yeah.
when they introduce new characters to the show, they find new pictures that embody it. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was the first 5 seasons with Diane Chambers. The first 2 seasons watching, I'm like really bored watching it. And then each season finale is like Sam and Diane break up, and then the season premiere is they get back together or something for like 5 seasons straight. So like by season 3, you're like, how can they keep this going? And that's what you keep watching for, is how interesting they make them getting back together or breaking up. And then
I hated Sam and Diane.
I thought Diane was really annoying until like season 4 or 5. I just started to accept her, and then once after she leaves, I actually find myself missing her from the show.
I really only said that because it's a community joke.
Oh, you guys in your community stuff.
Sorry, go ahead.
So anyway, yeah, and then like the last few seasons of Cheers without her, I just kind of felt like the comedic timing and the cast work better together. Like the first 5 seasons are more story driven, and then the last, the other half of the series is more just like joke after joke, like well crafted, just like comedy. But there's those seasons you just kind of coast on autopilot with your brain. So, and I thought the season finale was really pretty good.
The series finale?
So series finale, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty poignant.
What made you start watching Cheers?
Because it was streaming on Netflix, and like I don't want to buy all 11 seasons of Cheers if I don't like it.
Right.
So I gave it a shot, and it's considered a classic TV show. So I figured I'd bone up on it, and it might be good. Come in handy for trivia once in a while.
No, I was just curious because I did that with Roseanne back in the spring, just out of nowhere, mostly because it. Kevin Smith had been talking about it, and then a different podcast I'd listened to had mentioned it, and it was all on Netflix. And for me, that was a show that was sort of on in the background sometimes when I was really little. So I remembered very little about it, except for like little snippets of seeing little bits here and there. And so I really just sat down and watched it because it was like this huge nostalgia thing where I listening to that intro and stuff, I was like, man, it's like it's the 90s again. And it was the same thing where it was on Netflix. And then, of course, now I watched all 9 seasons and really loved it. So I just thought it was interesting that somebody else did something so similar.
Yeah. Like it was my parents, I heard in the background as I was growing up, so I just thought I'd reconnect with it.
I watched it at like 11 o'clock at night during middle school. Just because there was nothing else on, but I felt like I should stay up because it was rebellious.
Yeah.
Man. Then I watched Get Him to the Greek.
Oh, yeah. Had you never seen it before?
I hadn't.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's just, what's his name?
Russell
Brand running around being goofy for...
Yeah.
There's not much else to it. There's some funny gags, but... I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which I'm eating the little crow.
Are you really?
I didn't think it was great, but I mean, it wasn't stupid terrible as I got from the trailer. So
yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I don't think I would watch it again.
When the monkey is young, a CGI is awful, and then once Caesar is older, the CGI for him is better.
I think if the whole movie had been as good as the scene when he's in prison and he's like the dawn of the prison, like without there being any dialogue, it's just these monkeys as like, playing out The Godfather or The Sopranos, where he's like playing monkey against monkey. If the whole movie had been that good, you'd have me, holding my breath for a sequel. But
yeah, I actually appreciate that how they didn't like do subtitles or. Did they do subtitles?
Well, there was one, the orangutan talks,
yeah,
because he has a bit of exposition that he has to get across.
I like how they just played out the silence and just like you being able to watch their mannerisms and get what they're trying to do. Like I appreciate it. Like usually, producers are like, oh, the audience is going to get it, so let's telegraph it for them.
And John Lithgow was really good.
Yeah. Try to speed things up so I don't take up all the time. I also saw I Love You, Philip Morris, which you and your wife talked about last week. And
oh, really?
I'm just going to say it was weird. I didn't see it the way she saw it.
Yeah, of course Laura's going to love it.
Yeah.
Some poignant gay story.
Oh, don't say it like that.
It says it's based on a true story at the beginning, but I don't think it is. I think it's pulling a Fargo.
I think it's inspired by a true story.
Well, yeah.
Well, Fargo is not inspired by anything. Fargo is just, they wrote a good story.
Yeah, and just passed it off as true. I think it's the same thing though for this one, because that's way too, like, there's no way he broke out of jail that craftily that many times. And anyway.
I haven't seen it.
So yeah, I feel like gay romances. It's the movie for you.
Kitty, get off the wire.
I saw The Devil's Double.
You're gonna. Oh, there we go. All right.
I saw The Devil's Double. Have you?
No, did you really?
Yeah. Do you know about it?
Yeah. Was it shit? Because it looks like it's shit.
It's really long. It feels really long when you watch it because it's basically, and I'm not sure if I got the story right following it, but
well, that's a bad sign.
One of Saddam Hussein had twin sons.
Yep.
And one of them got killed, but they didn't want everyone to know that, so they hired a double to play the dead son, and then the living son blackmailed him into staying in the role, but he got attached to pretending that he was actually his brother. So when the actor wants to leave, he won't let him because he's like, "You're in this for life. You're actually my brother now."
Oh.
And then there's a bunch of violence and over the top. Like most of the time, you're just watching the real brother just goof off and be a complete asshole and murder people and party, and then the other one's just like rolling his eyes the whole time. And so
I hate everything about that poster. He's like,
That
it's just
poster is
it's
misleading.
gold, and he's in gold, and the chair is gold, and it's
the poster
it's
makes it look
gaudy
more
and horrible.
interesting than the movie is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no people completely in gold sitting around holding machine guns.
we should make
There's
that
machine
movie.
guns in it.
The movie just about people made out of gold.
So yeah, that's for movies. And then I got turned on. Okay, so finally some really good stuff. I got turned on to a British show called Sherlock.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. Twice.
There's only 3 episodes, but the cinematography is fantastic, and they actually follow detailed clues.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The way that he, like the Sherlock Holmes movie is really sort of an action movie, and you get this sort of, a narration. They find some pretty traditional ways of showing you how he gets clues, but in this TV show he's talking about, they sort of they'll put like graphical things into the movie where you'll see how his brain is connecting things. It's really neat.
Yeah.
Man, that show is really good.
Yeah.
It's a modern take on Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it's set in like
where-
modern London. And
and Watson is
They have technology.
amazing. Watson is played by Martin Freeman.
He's going to be Bilbo.
Yeah, and
But he's also
he's
from
Arthur
the
Dent.
UK office.
Yeah.
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 Plays Tim.
Yeah, and
British
what's
guy.
that guy's name? That guy has the best name, Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch
Yeah.
is the guy who plays Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really...
It's really good, especially the first and third one. The middle one is a little bit monster of the week.
Yeah,
But-
I had the same. Like the first one, I thought like I'd seen the first one, it was great, and the second
Yeah.
one was okay, and then the third one was amazing.
Yeah,
because he has to solve a bunch of different crimes all in one episode.
yeah,
So, and then Moriarty reveals himself, which is
yeah.
he's like the weirdest Moriarty I think I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, was he weird too? I don't remember.
No, remember he looks like the Phantom of the Opera, and then at the end he takes his mask off and he's just like a dude,
Yeah, I forgot.
and then he
that
gets shot in
movie.
the ice. I own it. You can have
No,
it.
I'm good.
No, you can
I
you can
didn't
have
like
it
when I
if you
saw
want it. It's in a
Nope.
it's in a silver DVD
can burn it.
case. I've never seen another movie in a silver DVD case. You can have it.
Okay, let's move along so we can just get to your guys' stuff. And then I got turned on to Coupling. Does
Oh,
anyone watch Coupling?
no,
I've heard of it.
because I know about Friends.
And Friends is amazing.
Okay.
Well, because the interesting thing about Coupling is that Coupling is, for years they've been trying to make an American version of Coupling, which is stupid because Coupling in the first place was a show that the British made because they needed their own version of Friends. Like Coupling is Friends, but with British people.
Yeah, it's not shot particularly well, but I think the writing is witty for what it is.
And it's British people, so
Yeah, it's British. So
Yeah.
so that's a quick recap of all the stuff I've been watching for like 6 weeks.
Nice.
yeah.
Ryan, James, what have you guys been watching?
I watched Community, which is amazing.
All right, now we can talk about this. We can't talk about it too much because Brad hasn't seen
I'm
it
gonna
yet.
sit back and just
But
take a nap.
he'll have to borrow it at some point.
Yeah, because it's pretty amazing. You were talking about it for a long time, and I didn't know if I wanted to buy it, but I happened to be at Target the other day, and it was on sale for $17 for the whole first season.
No, I should
And I'm
just
like-
go buy that.
I'm like, I can't pass that up. So I watched it. The first episode was funny,
Yeah.
and what got me into it was when he was talking to Britta, Jeff. The premise is Jeff is a lawyer who goes back to community college because he faked his degree, so he actually has to earn it before he can be a lawyer again. And he's a smooth talking. I mean, it's basically Joel McHale,
yeah.
but in a goofy, swarmy kind of swarm.
Swarmy.
Yeah, there we go.
Schwarmy.
Yeah,
if you're
kind of
Jewish.
guy. Schmitty.
Schmitty.
And so it's just these goofy characters, and they all have their own little quirks. Abed is really funny. He's the big movie and TV show nerd. So they have a lot of episodes where it's basically sitcoms, but told their way. And
It's extremely meta.
yeah,
Like,
and very clever.
yeah.
The episode with the chicken fingers, where they tell Abed, they say, you know what, Abed, really think about what you're going to say before you say it. And then it goes to voiceovers like the Wonder Years. It's freaking amazing.
Well, it's like no, they're specifically calling on Goodfellas because he's narrating, and it's sort of a gangster story about them taking over the chicken fingers industry
and
in
then
the college.
Joel McHale gets mad at him because he calls him like a mixture of Zach Braff.
Yeah,
and
it's an amazing show with an unbelievable cast. I mean, everybody on there is top notch. Chevy Chase, funnier than he's been in 30 years.
Oh, easy.
At least. And Donald Glover.
Donald Glover's money.
Brad, you know Donald Glover from Mystery Team, and he's just naturally funny. You know, we talked about him before because he's the guy that people were talking about him being Spider-Man. And he, like, especially, you haven't watched the bloopers yet, we talked about this earlier, but in the bloopers you'll see scenes where in the show he's got a joke, and what you realize is that joke was improvised, and so he is standing in front of the camera just spewing off different jokes that he could say there that are just straight off the top of his head, and he keeps going and going and going until he runs out. And it's unbelievable. You've never seen, and every single one of, or at least half of them, are jokes that are just as good as the one that's in the show.
And how funny the show is because you get used to them playing on TV shows or movies. And there's this one episode where there's a math problem on a chalkboard outside in the hallway, and these two guys are saying, "Oh, this is impossible." And Troy, Donald Glover's character, is an idiot. He's like a jock guy, and he comes up and he picks up the chalk. And then he puts a chalk in his pocket, and he goes over and he tightens a pipe on the drinking fountain to make it work. And then the janitor sets him up to fix another pipe, and he has this huge conversation of how he could be a janitor if he really wanted to be. It's so ridiculous.
The show is, there's a lot of things like that are, playing on things in pop culture like Goodfellas or Good Will Hunting or other things that don't start with the word good. But then there's a lot of things where they're people who know a lot about TV and know a lot about how it works, and then will play with that in the show. They very obviously talk about the bottle episode, which most people don't know about what a bottle episode is, but they at the beginning of the episode, Abed explains what a bottle episode is, and then the show proceeds to make a bottle episode where they are in that room the whole episode. They never leave. They want to leave because they want to go to the puppy expose that's out on the lawn, but they have to stay in this episode and talk about something stupid and find out about themselves and in the process. And you're like, it's that kind of thing where they're doing something in a very obvious meta way, and it's just so well written. I've said it before. I think it is the most Arrested Development show since Arrested Development.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Check it out.
Yeah,
and I also watched Enchanted, which is a Disney musical. It's actually no, I've never seen it.
You've never seen it before?
No,
it's great.
It is a great movie.
That's where everybody fell in love with Amy Adams.
Yeah, she plays this princess in an animated world. And then she gets pushed into the real world. But my favorite scene, actually, this might make me sound not totally straight at all, but she's at this park and she's trying to convince Patrick Dempsey, I forget the name of his character, Robert, this Robert guy that picks her up, that you can find love anywhere. And she just starts singing like you would in an animated movie. And he says, "Oh, no one would start singing." And then all of a sudden there's these guys in Central Park that start singing, and then it's this huge musical number that everybody's... It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just a really cute movie. It's one of those movies where you go, "Oh, I'm kind of glad I saw that." It makes you feel better. That's what I saw. James, did you see anything?
Oh, yeah, I saw a couple of things. I've been gone I wasn't here last week, but unfortunately I also haven't watched a lot of stuff. But when I was last year, you lent me a couple movies. First you lent me Paul, which I watched. And that movie's great.
It is.
It's really fun. The interesting thing is that you told me, okay, on the cover they spoil... like the big cameo in the movie. Brad, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. You said, "Oh, well, they spoil the big cameo in the movie." Well, no, they don't. For one thing, they don't spoil it on the back because Sigourney Weaver's name is also on the front in the credits.
Well, I mean, I knew who she was when she started talking. You know? What I mean?
Oh, okay.
But
but you thought I should. Okay.
Yeah. So you should hear her voice and then not know that she's in the movie. You know what I mean?
I thought so the whole movie's going through, and I thought William Shatner or somebody was going to just pop up because I was like, well, it can't be Sigourney Weaver because she shows up in the first 20 minutes. It can't be her. And then, of course, that's who it was, and I was like, oh, okay. But still, great. Really great.
Steven Spielberg also makes a cameo in it.
Yes, he does.
Voiceover.
Which is also, that's what I was just going to talk about, is that I was sort of afraid that all of the pop culture references were going to feel sort of forced or lazy. But the truth is, they wrote it into the actual plot of that movie, so they all make sense. Like, the reason those things are happening is because of Paul having been around the whole time. That was really fun.
And how great is Jason Bateman in that movie?
Yeah,
I love Jason Bateman.
And how great is Greg Mottola?
Yeah.
That movie is so well shot for a silly comedy romp. There's some really neat crane shots and stuff with them driving around, and it's great. That movie is really fun.
Yep.
Especially for how little attention that it got, unfortunately. The other thing was Super, which you also lent me, which, Brad, you were the one that first talked about, like, oh, you guys should see Super, and then Ryan bought it and really liked it, and I was like, okay, well, I'll borrow it. That movie's really great.
Yeah.
In the most bizarre and fucked up ways.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like the most fucked up movie you've ever seen in your life, but at the same time, you say, yeah. When he stabs Kevin Bacon in the balls, and he says, "You don't cut in line. You don't do drugs." You don't do that stuff.
Yeah, no. There's these weird, that's a perfect example where they're doing something ridiculous, not only because it's sort of funny and weird, but also because it's that's at a sort of serious, violent, gory part of the movie. But at the same time, he's really saying something. Like, he's saying, like, no, how hard is it? Like, you just have to try a little bit, And yes, he's going crazy and, killing a guy, basically braining a guy because he cut in line. And he's going, you just had to not cut in line, There's a serious moment there.
He takes a wrench and hits that dude who cuts in line, and it just splits open. Like, okay.
I guess they're carrying a wrench on me because I got cut in line tonight.
Yeah, he did.
And
then when Ellen Page's half her face is missing is sad.
Yeah. What's his name? James Gunn. I talked about this the last time when you lent it to me. I don't know what to do with him. Like, I don't know if I like him or if he's insane. But that the movie will go from being sort of funny and genuine to then being bizarrely serious in uncomfortably almost unrealistic
disturbing
ways, and then it'll go to ridiculous, where he's getting touched by God with some fucking weird tentacle shit. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then and then it'll get fun, and there's characters in there, I don't know why they're there. It's just this bizarre hodgepodge, and yet it's all done perfectly fine. It's you can't hate it, but at the same time, I don't know that I like it. Like, I have fun with it, but I don't know if it's good.
Yeah, do you, I would say, do you recommend this movie? Like, who do you recommend this movie to? You know what I mean? I would never let my mother watch that movie.
Oh, fuck no. No. I mean, because, like Ellen Page, and that's the other thing, is that during the movie I was thinking, he's dealing with some of the same issues that, The Watchmen deals with. Like that, especially the scene where she wants to have sex with him basically because she's turned on by the costumes, and the whole idea of that is one of the subplots of Watchmen, and the fact that is even in this movie is bizarre. And then that whole scene is so crazy, and yet real. I don't get it. I don't know what to do with that movie.
Enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it sounds like something that you want to see, people should see it. But the same thing. I don't know that I could recommend it to anybody, because half of the people who see it will just think it's bullshit. But and the last thing was I got to see the pilot for Wonder Woman. It got not leaked, but sort of released on the internet this a week ago, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and watch this god awful piece of shit and see just how bad it would have been. Like, are we worse off not having a Wonder Woman show? And the answer is no, because it's a messy, just wandering, pointless thing that sort of just appears sort of in the middle of the story, really. Like, it's not a very good pilot, because Wonder Woman already exists, and the definition of who she really is kind of ambiguous. Sometimes they act like she's human, but she's special because she's Amazonian. Like, she even says, like, well, I'm only human. And then later she acts like, well, I'm not only human. Like, she even says to a guy, like, well, you're only human. And then I'm going, well, what are you? Are you human or not? So the same thing is true with her sexuality, where, you know, there's a scene pretty near the beginning where she's yelling at these guys because they've made an action figure out of her and the boobs are too big. And she's like, I don't really look like that. I don't want, I don't want you to sell this as a sexual thing. Like, come on. And then later she's talking about how her boobs get her into places. Like, how, like she's using it like Aaron Brockovich style. And I'm going, no, you can't have this both ways. You know, you can't be, this, and there's a bizarre thing with, okay, so she's Wonder Woman, and sometimes she fights crime, and she's Diana, and she runs this corporation and, sort of sells her image to make money. All of the money she makes on marketing the image of Wonder Woman. And then there's a third character who, in the episode, like, it's sort of the version of her, like, she dresses down and she goes home to a little apartment where she watches TV, okay? And all that happens in those scenes is she has a cat named Sebastian who she talks to, and at the end of the episode she creates a Facebook page for herself. And that's what that character does, that section of the character. It's pointless. It doesn't want to be a good comic book movie or deal with any of the interesting things that Wonder Woman can deal with. It's just sort of meh.
Ryan's falling asleep just hearing about it.
It's as well he should. It was generally offensive.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're better off without it.
Yeah. David E. Kelly can suck it.
Totally. Go make Ally McBeal 2.
There's no, I mean, I don't want him to. That made it sound like I want him to make Ally McBeal. No, sometimes the show feels like Ally
James
McBeal.
wants Ally McBeal too.
Dancing babies everywhere. I've never seen that show ever. I just know there's a dancing baby on it.
Yeah.
God,
I would sooner watch Felicity.
Yeah,
because of J.J. Abrams.
Hey, guess what? Commercial break.
Oh, are we doing the commercial break? Because I thought you guys didn't like doing that.
Fine, fuck it. This week we saw Creature, and before we get into our review of Creature, Brad, would you recommend someone to go see Creature?
Only if you like terrible, terrible movies and enjoy paying $10 for them.
James, would you recommend someone to...
Heck yes. Yes.
You
Wow.
sick son of a
Yes.
bitch.
You sick son
Go
of a bitch.
see this movie. No, it's horrible. Wait until it's like on TV late at night and you miss the first 5 minutes or whatever and get drunk and pass out about 20 minutes later. And then tell people you saw Creature.
Yeah, I would not recommend anybody seeing this. If someone took my dog and said, I am going to skin your dog alive unless you sit through and watch Creature, I would still be a little hesitant. Because I'm like, well,
but you would do it.
Would it be worse for me to see... Would it be more torturous for me to watch this movie or for my dog to be skinned alive? I don't know what is worse. But with that, here's the trailer.
I'm not putting the trailer in. I'm not going to dig around for the trailer for this.
It's not on iTunes?
I don't know.
He doesn't care. He's like,
spend the time to find
I
it.
wasted a good $10 on this already. I'm not wasting any more of my precious time on this goddamn movie.
Okay,
Let's
sweet.
just get the review over with.
So here, let me be the trailer. But my mouth wasn't moving because in the movie, this creature. You know what? Let's set up the movie. So evidently, there's a creature named Lockjaw. Why is the movie called Lockjaw? Anyways, it's a half human, half.
I'm pretty sure Lockjaw is a real legend.
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive.
The Lockjaw character is the Louisiana legend. The creature
So-
in the movie is something different.
Oh,
Wait, but isn't he Lockjaw?
No.
But I can say this: when I saw
He's that incestuous guy.
But the guy...
He's not Lockjaw.
But
Hey,
the guy
guys,
who tells us
guys.
about Lockjaw is the guy who's a descendant of the monster.
Hey,
No,
hey,
the-
let's not confuse people. Let's tell them
Lockjaw's-
about this precise, to the point script that everything was very well thought out, and then we'll start tearing apart. So
You know what hurts my heart is that a lot of people spent a lot of time and they cared about this movie.
yeah,
And we're going to tear it to pieces.
No, they didn't. If they cared about this movie, they would have done a better job.
And if they cared about this movie, when they showed that shot of the alligator wearing the cowboy hat, someone should have said, "I guarantee." Remember Leatherhead from the
I've been to a lot of
Ninja Turtles?
low-budget movie premieres for students, and I've seen the passion for something that they wholeheartedly believe in.
You know, I
But
agree.
watching to the rest of the room is awful, but they think it's great. And that's why I think this is, this team, maybe not the actors, but the people directing and writing it really believed in it. And that's why I see on
think?
screen,
If-
but
and
it's
I-
still not
See,
a good
I don't know.
watch.
I can't agree with that because
No.
honestly, like as a writer myself, if I ever wrote something like this, I would stop doing it.
Not
Okay,
everyone
And
is,
that I know
not
that's
everyone is
being
self-aware of their writing, though.
I know, but here's the thing. I know you're right, but I went to school to do this, and what I learned was that you have to have people. You have to share your writing with other people, and learn how to be self-aware of your own writing, and learn how to see your own writing. You have to learn how to observe the way that people really act and try and mimic that in a way that makes sense. 90% of the dialogue in this movie is characters making excuses for the plot. They're telling
Yeah,
us
that's true.
there is a scene where the black guy leaves his girlfriend in the woods. That does not make sense. He should never leave her there in the woods. No character would ever leave their girlfriend there in the woods. He already said, I'm never going to let anything bad happen to you ever.
Whoa, you're skipping
'Kay.
ahead a lot. Dude, you didn't set up that they went into the gas station and saw the crazy
But-
Hicks,
but I'm-
and then they went to the cabin, okay?
But I'm using this scene as an example because in that scene, she keeps saying to him, "No, don't leave me here," which is reasonable, and he keeps making up bullshit reasons why she should stay there and get captured so that she can be captured for the end of the movie. Yeah, it's obvious.
Sorry,
I mean, you
Ryan,
have
you're right.
to.
We should set up what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
I wanted to make that point before.
We got derailed.
No, because we're gonna tear this thing apart because it needs to be.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, obviously the story isn't really that important. Basically, these kids go, they're on a road trip. A guy came back from being in the Marines, and they're going to go camping with people evidently they just met.
But weren't they both Marines? I
Yeah,
thought all three
yeah.
of them were Marines at
No,
the beginning, and then you
I-
find out one of them didn't even know those guys.
Yeah, like, I think the two were Marines, and they were friends, and then the one guy was friends with Oscar, was his name, I believe, the brother.
Yeah.
And the sister was friends with one of the girls, and they were all going to camp outside in the Louisiana swamps.
I think.
You don't know how
I
they
think
met,
they
you
were
just
making their
assume.
way to New Orleans so that they could take their clothes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what the plot is. They go to this cabin where they tell a story of an incestual family that fucks their sister, and then when the sister gets eaten by a white albino alligator, the guy goes to the albino alligator's lair and wrestles with the alligator that looks like it's from Pirates of the Caribbean at Disney, where you don't see behind it. It's an animatronic because you never see anything else. And then this dude must be the strongest guy in the world.
This is all in the longest flashback ever made.
Yeah, this must be the strongest guy
This
in the
has
world
nothing to do
because
with the main characters.
he lifts the jaws of this alligator, and he's able to kill it by lifting the jaws and breaking it.
Which is not the way that an alligator's jaw works is it has really good strength at closing its jaws,
Exactly.
not opening.
And
them.
I know because if you put any pressure inside its mouth, it snaps it shut.
Yeah.
So able to, break it. Anyways, so he becomes a half crocodile, half dude.
By
because
eating
he
the
goes
flesh
he
of-
goes crazy, and then he eats the alligator, and then he eats the people that the alligator had stored in his cave. Alligators don't live in caves.
Yeah, and he lives to be over 100 something fucking years old, 200 years old.
Yeah.
Because they said it takes place in the 1800s.
1800s, yeah.
So he's still that
Yeah.
old. And these kids go and they get attacked.
Well,
I guess.
these
Not even
kids
attacked.
they go into the woods to find the house, and then they camp there, and then they all split up so they can have sex with each other.
Yeah.
And then the one girl turns into a lesbian, and the one guy goes off.
Why does the one Marine go back to the car? I forget.
He wants beer? Remember?
Yeah, the one Marine goes back to the car while the one girl tries to rape that guy's girlfriend.
Yes.
Because he's gone forever. He's just gone forever, long enough
Then-
that she gets drunk.
Oscar pretends to go to his tent, but he ducks out while the two girls are making out, and he goes to film the other couple or
He takes
photograph the
he
couple.
takes like Fujifilm 100 pictures of the one couple having clothed sex.
Yes, and then his sister shows up and gives him a hand job.
And then his sister shows up and gives him a hand job because the first girl fell asleep.
Yeah, but also too, we didn't. Okay, so now we've set up this stupid, ridiculous plot. Now we'll start tearing it apart.
At this point, there's no monster.
There's no monster. So, but at the same time, the very first shot of the movie is literally tits.
Yes.
They show swamp and then tits.
Yep.
And then the girl goes in the water, and then an alligator goes in the water. So did the alligator bite off both her legs at the beginning, or was it the creature guy who bit off both her legs?
I thought it
And
was
did he
just an
bite off both
alligator,
their legs
but-
because he had a thing for ladies without legs? And that one's really offensive because that one was obviously them ripping off, because I don't want to
Jaws?
say paying homage to Jaws.
Absolutely.
I mean, she bobs that same way and comes up and screams. It's Jaws.
It is. But to me, too, that scene seems like they shot this movie and were like, you know what? We need to show some tits in this movie. We need an opening.
Yeah.
To get people sucked into this world. One, you're not Steven Spielberg, so you can't create suspense. Two, that chick wasn't that fucking hot. And three, she just, all of a sudden, she's climbing
Who's
up
the
and her
director's
legs
girlfriend?
are perfectly severed.
Yeah.
With-
Which isn't how an alligator attacks people.
Absolutely. It
And
would-
she goes from being frantic to instant death.
yeah, and then she all of a sudden climbs out of the water, and then her
And-
legs are severed exactly the
and the
same.
way
Who
shot-
goes skinny dipping in alligator-infested
Exactly.
swamplands
Yeah.
by themselves?
And just that whole shot where she's crawling up on the, like, it's one wide shot. It has, like, if you want to create some suspense, you got to cut between close up and wide, like back
Exactly.
and forth.
That's
It's
what
just-
I mean.
Well, and I lent you Heavy Rain a couple weeks ago, and just in passing as I was leaving, I mentioned something about that it's an old horror tactic of getting people naked to create suspense and fear.
It's a
And the-
vulnerability.
Yeah, the reason that I said it's a vulnerability thing, and Laura said I don't feel more vulnerable when I'm naked. And the thing is that with audiences, when you see somebody taking off their clothes, it communicates to us that character is comfortable and feels safe, and that tells us they are not safe. Well, that scene doesn't do any of that. That scene is very obviously just here's some boobs, she's gonna die, and it builds nothing. It doesn't.
And
It
you
doesn't
know how
climax.
You also know
climax.
this movie has no money at all because every time they're about to show gore, they don't show it.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a cutaway,
Oh yeah.
and then all of a sudden there's
or an obvious prop,
an obvious prop. Yeah,
like a stick severed hand or a mannequin head.
Mannequin head thrown in the lake.
but
Oh.
and you were talking earlier. You brought up a good point. About the writing. As a writer and as a director and as an editor of a movie, when you're making a movie and this guy is saying you're staying here with this crazy guy, and she's saying no, I'm coming with you. To me, that makes absolutely no sense at all because it's so clumsily written, and then they had all these start and stopping plot points. Like, why was that one chick sacrificed to the monster, the sister?
Yeah, why did he cut off her foot?
Why did he cut off her foot?
Can I make a grand statement here?
Yeah.
Plan 9 from Outer Space is a better scripted movie.
Wow.
With a more concise plot that sets up rules and follows them through because it's made by a guy who is extremely passionate about what he was doing. He wasn't good at it, but that's okay, but he was passionate enough and he communicates that in a certain way. That movie is better than this one.
I tend to agree because Brad, you brought up people did care about it, but too sometimes when I see a movie like that, it seems like the director he's like, okay, I'm just going to shoot this.
Yeah.
He didn't really try to do anything creative, because even if he tried to do, I think that scene where the monster did come up through the trapdoor could have been suspenseful.
Yeah.
Because she's terrified, but the setup for it took all the terror out of it. Where she gets her leg chopped off by her dad for no reason, and then she's tied to a chair.
Was that her dad?
Yeah, and tied to a chair, and then the creature just walks around, and then he sniffs her or something. And then he leaves, or he bites her or something.
Well, we get to zoom in on his weird mouth thing.
Yeah, and then it cuts back to her being dead, and then there's a grasshopper in her mouth. Why the fuck is there a grasshopper in her mouth?
I don't know. In the same line of people who weren't even trying, whoever edited this movie was, at the same time they were editing the movie, they were jerking off to the nude scenes. That's the only explanation for how
And
there are...
bored.
What?
And bored with what they were doing.
Yeah, that's the only
It's like,
explanation for him.
We're just gonna leave it on this one shot because I don't really want to bother with the rest of this nonsense.
There's a couple times where it cuts from one take of a shot to a different take of the same shot. So what we're looking at just jumps.
Did you notice the sister? We went through that whole scene where we focused on her changing clothes.
Yeah.
And then it jumps back to the highway where it's an over the van shot, and she's still wearing black in the front seat.
Oh no, I didn't
and then
see
it cuts
that.
back to the conversations in the car, and
Yeah.
she's back. Yeah, it's just.
I did notice that it was an incredibly awkward scene where she gets undressed. She puts on a shirt, but only halfway, so she's still exposed. The guy, who we later find out is her father,
Yeah.
comes out, and I only now realize that that's what it was. Her father comes out, and she stands there, and she's like, "Does this look good on me?" And then it cuts back and forth like 3 times, from him to her, to him, to her, to him, to her, to keep showing us her tits. Even though they're at slightly different, like the shot is
Yeah.
at different angles each time. So it's like they just sort of stood there with the camera.
And they didn't frame it. Yeah, exactly.
No, oh wow.
And what was up with all the slow motion is the movie wasn't long enough, and so they decided to add a bunch of slow motion to it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I want to just skip to the end before I forget to say this. They defeat the creature with a sinkhole. Now sinkholes take a long time to get started. They usually like hundreds of years of there's a cave under there and little bits of dirt slowly go down. This one, it rains, there's a sinkhole, the monster falls in it. Uh-oh.
No, dude, the sinkhole was formed because he's punching that guy so hard
That's true. He punches that guy for 15 minutes.
for 15 minutes, and the whole point leading up to that, he was ripping people in half allegedly because you never really saw it.
Well, he stabbed that one guy with his tail.
stabbing guys,
He stabbed the one
pulling
guy,
out throat rips.
Throat
which is the
ribs,
only person he actually kills, right?
which they stole from
He-
a Gruber.
Well, okay, of our main 6 characters that we're supposed to, sort of care about, he only kills the white guy, like the middle, the marine guy. Mm-hmm. That's the only guy that the monster kills.
No, he kills the
I mean,
Or
of our
the
6,
trailer.
yeah. He also kills the fat guy which that's maybe the worst scene in the movie.
yeah,
where
he dies from
fat
losing
guy,
a hand.
No, not just that. Okay,
Instantly.
he's standing on the side. He sees a bag of chips way down there in the water, and he climbs down there to get the chips and gets his hand chopped off by the monster.
He stands around
and chopped off,
congratulating
not
himself.
bit off. Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
And he dies instantly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he chops off his arm, he falls in a puddle of water.
He
There
screams and then goes and then yeah.
with the worst looking makeup chopped off hand ever.
Oh
And
man.
then the monster's mouth never moved when it was roaring.
Yeah.
No.
It was the most.
Because it was like they had enough money that for one day they could have the guy in costume. So they were like, okay, we got to have him on the set standing up. We got to have him in the swamp standing up. We got to have him just outside of the cabin standing up. We got to have him in the woods standing up. And we need to have that weird blanket thing on his back at least 2 of those times he stands up. And that's pretty much all they needed him for.
The alligator scale blanket.
Yeah.
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 Twice he has this weird blanket on his
shut
back.
off, yeah.
Basically just to make him look like, so you can't quite see him at first, and then the thing falls off, and then you see the monster, I guess.
And, he also, that one girl that was molested or almost raped.
Which one?
The one who drank so much that she passed out.
Oh, yeah.
They cut to a scene where the monster ran and picked up the tent. And then she was in the
Yes,
cave.
he charges the tent like a rhino, and just sort of like, boosh.
And she didn't wake up?
And he's been eating something the
Yeah.
whole time, like in that camp area, some kind of
Clearly,
meaty object that we
he's-
never found out what it was.
He eats more of the like southern crazy people who are worshiping him than he does anyone in the movie. Like than he does any of our characters.
Oh, and then what's the big... I forgot... So those guys are running, and the southern guys shoots the black guy in the leg.
Oh, I forgot
And
he
then
shot
he
the
gets up
guy.
and starts running again?
No, he asked the brother who got knocked over or something. He's like, "How you feeling?" And then I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like going to the other Marine guy, just saying, how am I doing? How are you doing? You just got shot in the leg. But yeah, he takes off
totally
like he's
forgot.
doing track.
He runs, he fights the monster, he
Like
jumps
he didn't
into
get
that
shot.
sinkhole at the end like he never got shot.
Because
Well,
correct me if I'm
you have
wrong,
to
they showed
understand.
a close up of his leg
He
getting
beats the shit
shot.
out of that
Oh
one.
yeah, no,
Big
he
guy.
got shot because they needed to have a scene right there. They needed to stop those characters so that guy could come down and tell him whatever bullshit he told him about how great the lizard man is.
And then he violently murders that hick
Oh yeah.
with his own gun.
And
Yeah.
then- so-
And then the monster shows up, stabs him with his tail, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So the black guy and the white girl have this huge exposition on the dock, and he tells her to get in a boat that is half sunk.
'Cause that's the best plan.
Clearly-
Is to jump into a boat in the middle of where the creature rises from.
Yeah.
Well, but you have to understand that according to this movie, lizard man creatures never actually go in the water because he never attacks anybody from the water. I guess the first scene, with that girl, but we see an alligator. So as far as I'm concerned, then an alligator attacked that girl.
Yeah. But still, it's like, let's isolate ourselves. That's
Exactly.
a good
Yeah.
plan.
Oh, yeah. They could have just kept running.
Yeah.
And so then they have this weird, supposed to be dramatic scene, and the Marines dude head falls from somewhere.
Well, because
The creature's been carrying it around, and they just when he finds
I
it,
mean,
he
how
just
far
tosses
did he
it
fall?
to
it
scare him.
it just falls out of the
Yeah.
sky.
Because it lands in that boat, so they don't get in the boat. Then they scream and talk for a little bit more, and then the creature decides he's going to punch the black guy in the chest to knock him in the water. I guess he's playing on the racism that black guys can't swim, and so that kills that guy instantly. He doesn't show up, and then all of a sudden they're at the sacrificial mausoleum tomb thing. I don't even know.
It was a crate.
Was he going to
Great.
cut that girl open, or
No, he's gonna.
Well,
fuck
he
her,
had
I
a
guess.
impregnate her?
Well, he had a necklace and he had a sharp rock. So I assume he was going to cut her clothes off because she was the only one who hadn't been naked yet. And then he was going to cut her leg off.
But so all the hillbillies were chanting, and then they showed the black guy running through the forest, and then they showed the creature walking through the forest, and then all of a sudden the black guy runs through all the hicks, and the creature's already there.
Well, and not just that, but it's hilarious to me that there's all these white hicks standing around, and a black guy comes running into the group, and they all freak out and run away.
and disappear for.
They're like, "Well, we got to get the hell away from this black guy."
And how
who
classic
knows what he'll
was
do?
The line, "Blood is blood."
Blood is blood. And they kept saying, his will be done. No, you just say his will be done.
And
that's it.
Okay, so we've set up the climactic battle between Jax and Reptile in Mortal Kombat, and he punches this guy in slow motion for it seems like 15 minutes. It seems probably 3 minutes long, but it was god
Jax is-
awful.
It was super
pinned on the
long.
ground, and the creature is just pounding at him.
Yeah,
And every
From a
time he
crouching
hits him,
position.
you hear the sound of muscles just shattering.
Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, and blood spewing up everywhere, and then the creature falls into the hole. And then
Well,
he
while
picks-
they're fighting, the hole begins.
Oh, that's
and we
right.
keep getting little shots of the hole getting bigger and dirt sinking into the ground. And it didn't even start as that. It just starts as here is a puddle.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
fight, and then here is a puddle.
It's almost
and
like
they
the
fight,
T-Rex
and
in Jurassic
here is a
Park.
puddle.
That's what I was
Tunnel?
thinking of
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And so the creature sinks in the hole, and they think they've won, but there's air bubbles coming out of the water.
Not air bubbles.
There's air. There's
The
air
alligator,
bubbles.
which can hold its breath for 20 minutes, is breathing again. No!
Yeah. So he sinks in the sinkhole, and then he picks up his girlfriend, and they're gonna get away.
Well, he picks up his girlfriend and then puts her on the ground so they can make out.
Yeah. So,
Right next to the sinkhole.
By this time, you think the movie is finally over. It's gonna dip into some kind of resolution montage.
Yeah.
But no.
No.
What happens?
Then the monster grabs the girlfriend and starts pulling her under into the sinkhole.
You're missing the best part, which is
that?
that whole scene takes place in super slow-mo.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
blurry, silent, you don't hear anything. It's just like he comes out and he grabs her really slowly and she kicks at him and then he pulls her into the mud.
But wait, Jax is a hero. he goes into that sinkhole.
He does.
And he
Dives in after
He
them.
dives in, and then you guys see the greatest scene in the movie. He fought this monster, and then when it opened its mouth to bite him, he grabbed it by its jaw and just ripped its jaw. Came out of the water.
That was
and
pretty
Actually-
badass.
It was.
I didn't see that scene because you never saw that. It was just in your own head because
Oh, that's
he
right.
goes into the sinkhole, and 2 seconds later, the girl comes back up, and he has the jaw. So I just
Oh,
imagine
really?
what you just
Oh,
happened.
I thought I had passed out. I just imagined that
So-
had to have been there.
So the whole time they build up this climactic scene, and they don't even fucking show it.
Yeah.
It's the dude coming out of the sinkhole with the mandible, and then they drive away, and he throws in an armadillo, starts eating it. And then this movie has...
Well, because that was foreshadowing, because Creature 2 is about Armadillo Man.
Oh, okay, cool. This movie has more endings than Return of the King.
But none of them are anywhere near as satisfying.
You know what? They never really explained what happened to the
People.
one girl who,
Who
was in the tent.
who got picked
and fell
up by
asleep.
the monster.
Oh, yeah, the Tent Girl. What happened to Tent Girl?
Guys,
Ryan, do you remember
Did
what happened to
she
her?
did she go to Walmart and buy a small toy doll?
Baby
No.
Alive? Did she pick up
Yeah, she
Baby
did.
Alive?
Because
Maybe she should do
evidently-
that. Maybe she should pretend to take care of something that's not real.
So evidently, the whole sacrificial impregnating a girl was all for naught because all the monster did was fuck this other chick, and she gave birth to the demon seed of Baby Alive at Walmart when you walk through the aisle and they start crying for no reason. Because that's
This
how
wasn't even that. This was like made in 1920 out of wood,
The
carved
worst
to look
looking
like it
fake
has
baby
ears. Oh, it was
You,
so
you
bad.
said the Planet of the Apes baby, monkey baby looked bad? No, this was... So anyways, fuck this movie. And if you want to waste $10, take a shit, wipe your ass with $10, rub it in your eyes, and you will not have the pain that I've just endured
Well,
watching
some
Creature.
of us paid more for it. So.
The real pain is that there are going to be things that I think about over the next couple of days that I'm going to wish I had remembered to talk about right now, because there were so many golden moments.
There
It was
was.
so bad.
And the standard bearer for me for worst movie of all time is House of the Dead. I think I have a movie that is equal to it now. And you're talking to a dude who has watched Netflix zombie movies that are 15,000 times better than this. That's how fucking shitty this movie was. And I feel bad for everybody I made see this movie. I feel bad for my wife. And she didn't even pay for it. I paid for it.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big
Wow,
fan.
we all got really heated there.
I'm a big fan of a movie called Pinata Survival Island, and that is a better movie, and that is about a pinata that kills people.
Anyways,
In the pantheon of wide released, sold as awesome movies, but turned out to be terrible, like House of the Dead, this is ranked up there.
We had to drive across town to see this. It wasn't even
yeah.
at the theater right here.
Not that.
It was a good
far.
10-minute drive, yeah.
blah.
It's not like driving to Aurora or something to see
Yeah.
it.
So, you can find us at Facebook at Real Nerds Podcast. Make sure you like our page.
Yeah, we have a like page now.
We have a
not
like
just
page
group
now.
page.
Not a group page.
Oh. Sorry. No, it's the girl who ends up jerking off her brother at the beginning. Her accent. Did you notice that? Like, she started the movie and she had this. She was like trying for a thick Southern accent. Mm-hmm. Did you know? And then it just goes away.
It's like that French Southern.
Or it's like Princess Leia in Star Wars, eventually it just stops trying.
Anyway, sorry. I was
Yeah.
just reminded.
Anyway,
Of it.
So yeah, like us on Facebook under Real Nerds Podcast. You can also follow us on Tumblr, realnerdspodcast.tumblr. No, it's realnerds.tumblr.com, I'm sorry.
it's
You
episode
can,
14. You still
you can email us
Well,
at
it's
realnerds
it's episode 8 for you. I mean,
yeah, at realnerds@gmail.com. So yeah, next week, I think Drive comes out, I hope.
no, it's 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks. Fuck.
Next week we can go see Lion King 3D.
We could. Yeah.
Well, hold on. We've killed time on the podcast before. Let me look it up really quick. Why not?
Nebcast also has a like page if people want to.
Yeah,
like
so
it.
Nebcast, I'm on that too, so you should probably like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really, I
Yeah.
don't really want to see The Help, but I really should have listened to people and saw The Help this
Yeah.
week.
Well, honestly, the thing that killed it for me was I was like, was when you told me it was basically 2.5 hours long, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if we don't start it till 10, that means we won't get out till 1 o'clock. So I thought, well, okay, we'll go see something. And it
I'm
wouldn't.
exhausted from watching an 80-minute movie.
It was only 80 minutes. Are you kidding me?
Is 88.
Yeah.
No way.
Well,
I thought it was like 2 hours long. Oh, you're right. September 16th drive.
Sweet.
Awesome.
I thought the poster said 20 something.
From the director of Bronson, which I loved last year.
I still haven't seen the trailer because people
I
keep
mean, it's
saying
a choice
great.
between Drive or How Does She Do That, or How Does She Do It?
I don't know how she does it.
Oh, okay, I don't even know.
Is
that.
the name of
It's
the horse
Jessica
movie.
Parker.
It's
My
a
wife
sequel
can go
to
see it.
Seabiscuit.
My wife can go
Or
see
Straw
that.
Dogs, the rape movie.
I like The Strangers. Kind of looks like it'd be like that, but I'm seeing Drive next week. I don't care
Well,
what
but
you
it's
guys
The Strangers with rape
do. Nice.
and without creepy masks. And
It's a
Tamara.
remake, so you could even just jump ahead of the game and watch the original.
Good. So yeah,
so next week, I don't know how she does it.
yes,
No, Drive.
we're
Sorry.
seeing Drive with Ryan the Bod Gosling.
We're gonna drive out and see it.
Yeah, we are. Hey, thanks for listening. Sorry, I hope this deters you from seeing Creature. Do not see this movie.
Honestly, I think this was our best podcast in a while.
Probably.
It was a fun one.
Anyways, thanks for listening.
As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and you shall wear the starry crown. Goodbye shall be the thing's after us.
You know the legend, son?
My dad was way into all this kind of stuff.
Is that right? You all going out there. Best watch your step. There's worse things than gators, you know.
Really?
I don't think there's any way we can get around that thing if it's trying to catch us, man.
Sounds there's something there. Hello?